Today's Taste of Britain comes from the edge of the Highlands in Scotland. I've come to find the water of life, whisky. Although many countries make whisky, Thailand, Japan, Ireland of course, no country has the sheer variety that Scotland has. Part of the secret of good Scottish whisky is the wonderful spring water they have up here. Not only is it velvety soft, but it's sometimes flavoured by the peaty soil the water filters through. For the full story of whisky making, I've come to the Highlands. This remote glen is a place of pilgrimage for whisky buffs. The Edredale distillery dates back to 1825 and is the smallest in the UK. A mere 3 men turn out some fantastic whiskies. Jimmy, Neil and head distiller Ian Henderson, a true master. It takes a year for Ian and the lads to produce what the big distillers can make in a week. It's a real labour of love.
Although whisky is one of the most complex drinks in the world, it's made from 3 very simple ingredients, which in Scotland we have plenty of. First of all, the water supply. You need to make good whisky, you need good water. The second raw material that we use the most of, and the most expensive one, of course, is malted barley.
Wow, that's really smoky.
And of course, the third ingredient is it's just bread yeast, basically. And besides making good whisky, it also makes good bread. Well, this is the first start of the process. This is the mash tun. Now, this mash tun's been here for 113 years, and it's still working.
113 years?
I take the grist, now that's the ground malted barley you saw earlier, where I'm going to collide it with water in this tube.
It's very steamy, it's like a sauna, but it smells fab.
The process actually starts within the tube. Immediately you hit the water to the starch, it's starting to change
So it's
into
working
sugar.
all the time?
Working all the time. And then by the time, this will take about 3/4 of an hour to fill the mash tun, and by that time we're ready to extract the sugary water or the wort.
So this, you do by eye?
Do by eye. If you don't get this right, nothing, it won't be right further on in the process. This is the most sophisticated instrument we have on the plant. In a modern distillery, this would be all controlled by a computer.
Purely by eye, by
Purely
human?
by hand and eye. This is where you can't get it any more handmade than this.
Wow. That is really sweet. Yeah. Really sweet.
That's the mashing in process complete.
That's it done?
That's it complete. The sugary water, which we call wort, is pumped from the mash tun up through the pipes, up until it comes into the cooler here.
So from down there, up the pipe, into here, it's still hot here?
It's still hot.
Right.
And then it goes down through the cooler. It's a similar principle to the radiator of your car.
How old is this?
Well, this was built in 1934.
Good
So
grief.
it's over 70 years old. So we have to cool it before we introduce the yeast to it, otherwise you would kill the yeast with temperature. The next stage is to put it into the fermentation vessel or the washback. You can see the wort going in down the pipe. We're ready to put the yeast in. So I'll just lift it up onto it.
As a chef, I'm used to using tiny amounts of yeast like that, and that's probably enough to make a pound loaf of bread. Never 25 kilos.
I'll just draw a wee sample and let you see this. That's probably about 8% alcohol.
Could you drink that?
Yeah.
Have a taste.
Wait. It's like
It's
beer.
not, it's just like beer,
Beer,
isn't it?
yeah. Right, come on, I'll show you the next part of the operation,
Wow.
which is distillation. Of course, the 2 stills are the heart and soul of any distillery. They're going to determine what the character of the spirit is. So what we're doing is we're heating the beer, and it starts to vaporise about 78 centigrade, goes up here in vapour form, and goes out to the coolers outside, the worm tubs. The shape, the height, the diameter, and the angle of that pipe will determine the character of the spirit.
Really? Even the angle of the pipe there?
The angle of the pipe.
Think of this as your kettle at home when you make a cup of tea and the steam comes out. Here, the steam is the alcohol, and that is what Ian is really interested in.
This is just a scale-up model from the days when we made moonshine, if you like, in the hills above the distillery. And it had to be small enough when the revenue men or the customs and excise appeared on the scene to lift it up and run away.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Good grief.
These two pipes here are where the vapour comes out from the stills. You know,
Okay.
when you're boiling the wash in the still, that's the first distillation. So the vapour's inside that black pipe and it goes down in a coil, down through the water, back into the safe where we collect it. Pipework in there, the coppersmith that examined it last year, he found his grandfather's initials in the bottom section.
His
of the pipe.
grandfather's?
His grandfather. So this lasts several generations. This is 1825 technology. It would be like
But
this.
it's so simple
It is simple.
in a
yes.
way. I love it. I think it's just fantastic to watch.
From the cooler outside, we now come to the safe.
So from outside, where the vapour's in the pipes cooling down, eventually becoming a liquid,
Yeah.
that liquid comes from there into here.
It comes through the worm tubs into here as a liquid,
Wow.
so that we can measure it and observe it. The padlock was originally a customs lock because they were so intent in keeping us out of the safe, they put their own padlocks on.
So it's to stop you drinking it, really.
Yes, the customs and excise didn't trust us in those days, and maybe sometimes I think they still don't. Right, this is the spirit that would have come out of this part of the safe.
And that's
this is 70% alcohol.
Can I taste it?
Of course you can. Yeah.
Takes your breath away.
Well, it's got a chocolate type sweetness with a hint of spice in it.
It's like rocket fuel.
Yeah. This will also pick up the colour from the cask.
Yeah.
60% of the flavour and all of the colour will come from the wood.
Oh, really? 60%.
And we're going to go and see the cask being filled
Okay.
next.
The next stage of the process is the barrelling. Just come and look at this for a cottage industry. Okay, Ian.
Okay.
Next part.
Next part. Fill the cask.
But that is it.
That is it.
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
So all that huge process comes down to this.
Down to the cask.
Look at this lot. 800 barrels of whiskey at 10 grand a piece. Wow. The whiskey we've made today won't be ready to drink for 10 years. My 5-year-old daughter could be leaving school and I will be in my mid-50s. How spooky is that? At the end of it all, what we made today will be just like this. In this glass there's all that Scotland has to offer. There's history, there's hospitality, and there's good cheer. So as the Scots say, here's to you.